simply because he was having some misgivings about the revenue accruals and revenue of the company. When he solicited for the use of the regular police, police told him about the illegality and the absurdity of the request. And arising from that, he went and mobilized the scouts, militia, to surround a cement factory somewhere in the Middle Belt. I don't want to call the name, but most of my listeners you know what I'm talking about. Given that kind of person, allow him to run the state police at some other times, well, you even expect a kind of a civil war, oppression and desertion of the state. And in fact, they will practice it. Some states will go into fractional war with each other. Boundary dispute will become civil war within Nigeria. Also state police. We need to be cautious. What we have seen so far does not that idea. But if what Nigerians wish, let us be alive to see in the next 5 years, 3 years, if what they are talking about is true, you will still call me to ask me that I've spoken like a prophet of doom. I'm not a Jewish prophet, but there's this for caution. There's this police has to be structured. There's this police still under the parameter of control of state governors. Asking for more is asking for the obvious, which is excessive use of power, rapid control, rapid use of power against the opponent.
Okay.
Put my expression into test, and I think time will prove it out. Thank you.
It then brings us to ask, are you, from what you've said, is it then not true when we hear state governors over the years, during elections and even after elections, say that they have no powers to tell their commissioners what to do, that they take instructions from the federal, and the order that comes from the center supersedes whatever other instructions that they get at the state level? Is that correct? Especially during elections.
You have said it all. It's not correct. They say during election. You know, the political actors, elections, they are special times. That's the time where they take their exam, so to speak, exam in quotes. That's the time where they practice all the worst form of absurdity against the citizens and against themselves, against their opponents rather, in order to have political leverage, continued domino effect in political the dominance. And that's the time that most of the police commissioner will remind them of the need for fair play, the need for neutrality, the need for inclusiveness. That is where they go gaga and begin to complain about control. I mean, why should election be regarded as a special time? Because the time for fraudulent processes of transmission of power. Assuming that the fraudulent mindset is not there, what is so special about this? Voters naturally call voters. It's the same politicians that will incite voters to go to certain direction they don't want to go. It's the same politicians that will coerce vote and induce them to do certain things voters don't want to do. Ordinary Nigerians, ordinary voters, do not have any exacerbated interest in election processes. After all, they are not contestants. But more during the elections, you see governors giving directives that is far from the reality in this world. And most of the commissioners of police will remind them of the need for human rights, the need for inclusiveness, the need for fair play, the need for democratic governance. And that is where most of them will complain. So, well, we know what all of us are. And I'm happy that all of us are Nigerians. We know ourselves inside out. But if it is the way Nigeria wants to go now, well, we wish ourselves well. But I can tell you, if we are alive in the next 3 years or 4 years, on the same program we are alive, you remind me that what I said has manifested.
Right. What you're saying now, and some of the cons that you're pointing out, and it's more of a personality issue, looking at the kind of politicians we have and their antecedents, especially for the governors in several states across the country. But the things that you're pointing out, aren't these some of the things we already are seeing happening even now, that, in quote, the police is being controlled from the center, according to most state governors?
They are saying so because their primordial and political inanities are not being met.
So the police is not being used now.
Their political and inanities, I emphasize, is not met. Ideally, there's no police commissioner or policeman that would not like to do his work according to the law. There's nothing that comes from the center telling you to do what is illegal. I've telling you from service practice. I have served as a DPU, I've served as a area commander, I've served as a commissioner, I've served as an AIG, all in the field, not in the office. And whatever I tell, that is the honest truth. But they will call you from the center and tell you that commissioner of police, go to our holder, go and twat the votes there and kill all the people and prevent them from voting. Nothing like that happens. Nothing like that happens. But you are likely to get a similar directive from governors.
Have there been governors in your experience?
If it is so at the federal level, why is it that when there's election, there are some parties who are not on the same template with the federal government that used to win in some states? So if what you say is a practice, it is not. Why is it that parties different from the party at the federal level wins election in some states and even in some local government? Let us ask ourselves, we are honest, we are honest Nigerians. Why is it that anytime when there's an election now, example like state election or local government election, why is that election conducted by state electoral commission? Opposition party doesn't win. But if it's conducted by INEC, opposition who are in opposition to federal government, they win. Why is it so? So who is more neutral in this perception?
So
are you with me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you. I want you to clarify something for us. I mean, from your experience, you're in the system from the bottom to where you are now at the top. Can you explain to us, in your time on the field, even now, during any of the elections or even after the elections, have you gotten directives from state governments or governors or political figures in states that you've been stationed at telling you to do things that are outside the obligations and duties of a police officer?
The question you have asked, I have already enumerated it. I say from service practice. Those situations occurred. I may explain my remarks in the last 30 seconds. That's exactly what I said. Both direct, overt, and covert. Both direct, overt, and covert. It exists even until today or tomorrow. And when they find out that the commissioner of police seems to be neutral, is not advanced, or is
your account is low.
On WhatsApp as well. The WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416, or you send us a message on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's the Facebook page. Go there and follow us on that on the page and drop your comments. We'll try to reestablish contact with my guest in a matter of a moment. The question we're asking is that you tell us whether you think state governments have what is required to manage state police. Well, my guest, AIG Abutu Yaro, has said quite a lot, and there's still plenty of questions that we are going to ask him. This one here says, good morning. Stanley, okay. I'm still thinking about the answer to this question. I wouldn't know. But then you can continue try thinking, and then please do well to get back to us as soon as possible with that one. On WhatsApp, 0809-030-6416. This one says, please ask the AIG who checks the power of the federal government on police and whether it is better that one man has power over illegality. The police is also known to commit. I can't get details of that message. We'll take a commercial now. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay on the line.
Nigeria Info. Right back after this.
8:08 is what the time is. Thank you for staying with us. My name is Ifiemi Andrew, and quickly would like to apologize for that interruption we had earlier. Had some unforeseen expectations. Hello, Mr. Abutu. Thank you very much for staying with us. All right, quickly, before we get back to you, let me remind the listener that you can participate by simply getting on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That is the handle. We'll need your comments and questions coming in for my guest to respond to. On Facebook, the number is 0809-030-6416. We'll try as much as possible to keep the conversation running. At the moment, experiencing certain technical issues, so we have to sort alternative means to get this conversation done. So we'll just try to make sure that it goes on smoothly now. Sir, before we got really interrupted and the commercial we went for afterwards, you were trying to explain and respond to a question that I had asked you, and I think I would want to reframe that question so we get your response again. Can we say that the police is still taking orders from the federal? Does that negate the concept of the governors being number one security officers of their states? Because the governors will say that they are supposed to be chief security officers of the state, but then you hear them at the same time say, as chief security officer, I can't tell the police what to do. The only thing I do is provide logistics so that I help their work go smoothly. But at the end of the day, the overall instructions that they get on how they do what they do comes from the center. And some people are saying that is what we are seeing now. So even if we have state police, it is the same thing happening at the state level. It shouldn't be that bad.
Well, I want to remind ourselves that there's a lot of danger in listening to one-sided story. According to one of Nigerian female best writers. And I'm happy that this forum is an opportunity of presenting the other critical view of the narratives. In a state administration, I want all of us to understand this fact. Governor, the chief executive and the chief security officer. But the commissioner of police is a security expert. There's a difference between the man being in charge and being an expert. Hello, are you there?
Yes.
Good. In those circumstances, what plays out is as practical as I'm explaining to you. The commissioner of police is a security expert whose duty is to ensure that there's peace and tranquility in the state, as well as the governor, who's the chief. The commissioner of police is the chief security advisor and the technocrat, aiding and assisting the governor to function and provide security coverage for the state. Most times, what you refer that to are issues that are of sensitive nature, that most governors will be advised to take alternative action. Our relationship between Commissioner of Police and the governor is very explicit. It's provided in the Constitution. Our Constitution is Section 314 or Section 341 also provides that the Commissioner of Police shall take directive from the governor and he shall cause it to give effect to it. The Constitution equally said in circumstances when the directive given by the governor has some collateral security implications, is at liberty to consult the Inspector General. That is the line we are talking about, which has become fairly debated. And of course, there are some instructions they give that you discover that it impinges negatively on national security. And at that point, the Commissioner of Police, in compliance with the constitutional provision, consult the IG for further guidance. And I'll give you a practical example. permit me to take time to explain, because my presentation are more experiential, based from practical experience, not theoretical. For example, in your River State there, as a commissioner of police, if you may get a directive from a governor, even during State Security Council, or on a one-on-one basis, the commissioner of police proceed to Opobo with your team to ensure that Mr. XYZ, who has been giving me a lot of heat, or whose family or whose loyalty is to the opposing party, so please take him out. I won't take him out. Of course, every professional commissioner of police will take that directive in circumspect, will implement it in circumspect. It is unconstitutional to take somebody out because his political learning or political leaning is to not towards the governor's side. And of course, if the governor is the supreme authority in the state, you as the commissioner of police, you don't need to tell him no, sir. You will consult. You make a phone call to some people or some authority higher than you in the police who are more learned, who are more experienced, and say, look, this is the kind of situation I'm facing. What is your advice? And this is the area that some of the governors will tell you that when they give order, they don't go. I mean, the commissioner of police not implement. I don't want to name names, but I want to be as fairly practical as possible. These are the circumstances we're talking about. There's no commissioner of police, even in your state or rivers there, that will sit down and allow law and order to break down. They always do their best to safeguard the law and to safeguard the life and to safeguard the properties of people. But often at times, political players, it may not even be governor. Sometimes agents of the governors who try to give some insinuations that tends to preserve their political dominance and political interest, which of course contradict common sense, which of course contradict what the law says. And of course, why they say so? Let me take it for example. It doesn't apply that because you are a governor, you are an expert in law enforcement. It doesn't know that there are some people who become governor without working for government one day before in this country. So their understanding about processes and procedure is far from normal. And as a seasoned police officer, as a technocrat in security, you have a duty to halt him at a point. And that is the area that they complain about. They don't want to be halted in any way possible. And if those mechanisms do not exist in the way I'm describing, I can tell you there will be anarchy. Let me remind ourselves, when we state administration is part of our federal republic. I can tell you, if law and order breaks down, even in the remotest state you can imagine, it can have a concomitant effect on national security and national stabilization. Hello, are you there?
Yes.
Good. So that is the kind of safeguard we provide.
There's an example. Sorry to interrupt you. Before we go to the phone line shortly, but quickly respond to something. I want to make an example from what you just said. Then there's an example of something that happened during the PDP NEC meeting in Abuja, and it involved some lawmakers, a lawmaker in Rivers State and a council chairman from Rivers State, where videos showed and reports that came said, oh, you had a council chairman telling police officers, arrest these persons, take them out of here, and then you see police officers, carrying out the instruction of the council chairman according to the reports that came out of the council. Now, for many people from the NEC meeting venue in Abuja at the time, now for many people, what you just described now, it's people say, doesn't the police have the ability to say no? This person did not do this or did not do that. This person, what did the person do to warrant an arrest? In most cases, why don't we see that happen? But like in this case, some people say the police went on and carried out the act and didn't ask questions until now. No statement to even say this is why we are arresting this person. This is what they did, or this is what we're finding. So how do you then juxtapose this and make it make sense for people who are listening?
Good. Now the incident explained still reinforces the situation I'm analyzing. that in most cases, the political actors, that's why I say it doesn't even necessarily need to be the governor. Political actors, they always take action in such a way, in such a arbitrary manner, to protect and project their political and personal interest. The something more, most aspect is even at the commissioner governor's level. Of course, what you have, you explain. It happens at the micro level, which is the police constable chairman level. That's the hierarchy of government. But the macro level, the higher level, which is the state, that is where cataclysm can degenerate. What you have just described can always be corrected from the commissioner's level. And that kind of negative influence is always there from at all levels of policing, even the village police post. The tendency for chairman of town union or village head or to direct the OC police in his village to do things outside the law is always there. The tendency for local government chairman to tell the police around him to do what is not correct is not always there. But the worst form of it is at the state level, where the governor continuously gives negative and unlawful direction to the commissioner of police. That is the one that brings the national cataclysm. But what you have just said can still be corrected if at the commissioner level there's still sanity there. The commissioner can always rise to the occasion. The area commander can rise up to the occasion. And I must remind ourselves, the smaller police or the small police, they are more fallible. They are more fallible to derailment, much more than the higher one, and much more than the commissioner's level. But when we want sanity of authority to be very consolidated, is the commissioner of police level. That is where the state police system can actually have proper bearing in terms of derailment or in terms of having a focused system.
Okay.
But isolated cases at the lower level, as you talk about, it exists. And that's what we are talking about. And that is why I'm saying, even when we are still maintaining in the national or federal police level, you can explain what you saw or what you are talking about. Talk more if it is state police. That's the point I'm saying. That's why I said the incident you related reinforces the analysis I've made earlier on, and I'm still making. And that's why we need all of us to correct it. But if the popular opinion is in the direction you people are saying, to God be the glory. We're all Nigerian citizens. We wish our country well and wish ourselves well. But in any case, if we are alive in the next 3, 4, 5 years, and this radio station is still working, and you will still ask me, you will still remind me that I spoke like a Jewish prophet.
Okay, let's take.
We cannot fold our arms and allow our country to go out of our hands. We know our Nigerian characteristics. We know ourselves better than other people know us. There are many things about our life as Nigerians that if we itemize them, our negativities, one by one, it's enough for the whole world to disconnect.
All right, Mr. Yaro.
But in any case, that's not why we are here.
Let's take some calls now and hear what the listener has to say quickly. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, and 0817 923 0007 are the numbers you can call to join the conversation. This one says the AIG is economical with what he's telling you. We all in Owerri knew his performance in Owerri. He was most of the times he was doing the bidding of the governor, and then the AIG in Abuja. Onwanze Iyek from World Bank Owerri sent in this one. So that's a direct allegation someone is making towards your direction. Another person says, we are not ripe for state policing yet. States cannot pay the salaries of workers. The governors will use them to oppress the people. Just imagine what happened in Abuja now last week. Okay. Another one here says, were you expecting your guest to admit on air that police help politicians carry out election malpractice? He won't admit to that on air. He would rather play around the question, and we know that. Isaiah from Buguma, quickly, just tell us what your question is or make your contribution.
Great again. See, Andrew.
Yes.
For me, nothing justifies what anybody can say to drop the idea of state police for now. Because if today Nigeria, the insecurity that farmers can no longer go to farm, the intimidation that the police, the federal police is even another state, that what we are seeing and hearing. it's better. I tell you that it's better we try the state police and see, even if the state police will be in the same manner. I think there is no harm in trial. Let us see the result in the near years and days to come. Now, if you talk about governors or state not be able to pay state police, I don't think it is like state like the River State or those oil producing states. Those states who cannot pay the state police can continue to stay under the federal police. You understand? And see whether from there we begin to compare those states that have state police and the one that are under federal police. What is making good impact and all of that? Because today you can see the intimidation. You understand? Look at River State. A governor was tear gas. People go to a local gathering like Thanksgiving. Something happened. The police is not saying anything. So many kind of people have been arrested in Abuja for no reason, and up to date we are not hearing the police because they are taking order from the federal Inspector General and all of that. See,
all right, Isaiah, thank you. Let's go to Mufasa, NTA Road now. Mufasa, good morning.
Good morning to your guest. Andrew, quick one. Let me just say that, you see, your guest is only trying to explain to us what an ideal situation is and what the situation should have been. I just say that what we are currently experiencing in this from what an ideal situation is, because it will not, try to feign ignorance of the fact that our police currently has been completely bastardized. Because when you recount what happened in Abuja, it said that is an isolated, situation. And for me, that wasn't an isolated situation. We saw a situation where police officers were ordered around by a local government chairman from River State in Abuja. And even when that incident was going on, a senior police officer was trying to call those junior officers to order. And they still went ahead to do what they are doing. That means they got, the permission and order from somewhere that, that they was disobeying a senior officer who was on the ground. But I want to equally point that what we are experiencing in this country as a result of lack of discipline in the police, because in recent times we've seen where police officers were used to commit crime and no consequences has been meted out on any police officer because they got order from senior offices in the top hierarchy of the police. So let us not begin to pretend as if we don't know that the police currently that we have in this country is nothing to write home about.
All right, Mufasa, thank you very much. JJ from Port Harcourt Town, good morning. Go ahead.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning. I agree with your guest, and I think it's not being fair to the state and to the governors. He even contradicted himself when he said that some of those incidents happen with the smaller police people and not the big ones. The last time I checked, the small police people are Nigerian police, the one under the federal government. Andrew, you were here. I hope you will go back and read it if you have not read it, where the former commissioner of police in Rivers State here was saying that he regretted helping somebody to become governor. Is that part of the work of the police? So as far as I'm concerned, he's just looking at a way of protecting his job, but they said the best definition of madness is doing one thing over and over again and expect a different result. Let me help him. You have over 16 police checkpoints on the east-west road from Memo to Ahoda, and kidnapping and hijacking of buses were happening that area. It was off-pack. In case you don't know off-pack, local vigilante that saved the situation that people could pass there. And you're telling me if governors control police, that hell will let loose. Sir, hell will not let loose. Let's try a different thing and see how we can get different results. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, JJ. Let's go over now to Valentine. Valentine is on the line from Port Harcourt Town as well. Quickly, Valentine, good morning.
Okay. Good morning. I want to comment on the state police. I think Nigeria as a country, we are not yet ready to accommodate state policing. For example, you can see that even when you have the president in charge of securities and all of that, but you can still see the influence of Nigeria politicians over this police. So I think if they should create state police, the governors will definitely use them to, for self-interest and for political gain, and that will cause chaos. Except they will bring a way, like a kind of constitution where they will restrict the governor from acting and giving order. Maybe order can come from the Inspector General of Police. Why the state government pay their salary or so whatever. But I think Nigeria as a whole is not ready for state policing.
All right, Valentine. Lugard in a chair, and then we'll come back to my guest. Okay, we lost the call from Lugard already. Unfortunately, I think you got interrupted by the service provider. All right, before we wrap up, this message says Nigeria can manage state police, but our politicians are too political. Stephen. All right, quickly, Mr. Yaro, let's get your thoughts. First off, as you conclude, the problem of welfare now for police officers, now that it's controlled from the center, is a problem. If it becomes state police, do you see any improvements? You can add that to your response to some of the opinions put out by the callers. Hello. I think I would have to try and let's reestablish contact with the guest to get his thoughts on this. Meanwhile, this message here says state police is the best thing that will ever happen to this country, Nigeria. Nothing anybody can tell me about it. Clever Sonny, you sent that message in. This person says, good morning. Please ask what is the situation with the Rivers lawmaker? So, Gary, good boy. All right, Mr. Yaro, thank you. We got interrupted by the service provider. Quickly, your response to some of the callers in under 3 minutes as we wrap up. And do you think that the welfare of police officers will be better off under state police?
Well, thank you very much. From the response so far, you can see the divergence of view of the population. A good number of the responders so far align themselves with my school of thought, and a good number even confirm too that what we are having now has some semblance of police under.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go on.
Good. Now, even one of the cases, he arrived that when I was in Imo, I was doing the governor's bidding. Good. So that is to say, in most of
Mr. Yaro, at the moment, it's quite difficult hearing you. I think the service providers really bad. We just have to interrupt the call and then try to reestablish contact. Even though we have less than a minute now to go on the show this morning, let's see if we can quickly get a guest back on to sort this out. All right, quickly, Mr. Yaro, we have less than a minute, so you have few seconds. The network isn't very friendly at the moment. You are trying to respond to the situation in Owerri from one of the messages.
Yes, one of the speakers said, you recollect that when I was the commissioner of police there, that I was doing the governor's bidding. Yes, the answer is yes, the answer is no. But that statement itself confirmed the fact that the government apparatus in the state so far, as we have as today, are working on the same page with the police leadership. So if we are already working with the police leadership, and as they have accused me of working with the governor at that time, it meant that why we created state police.
All right, Mr. Yaro, thank you, but we are already out of time. Have yourself a great day, and thank you for joining us on the show today. We'll keep in touch. We go for a commercial now. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Good morning.
This. Mom's love.